I'm Max Corcos. I'm studying my first year at University of Chester, studying Geography and Natural Hazard Management. We've been here the last few days surveying flood management and flood problems in the Calder Valley.
I'm Betony Atkinson and I'm doing a placement with Calder Council, and I've also been helping out. We're about to talk to Denise, a lady that was affected by the flooding. Can you tell us about the damage after the flooding?
Well, the flood flooded all of our ground floor, so of the house, to about 2 foot. So we had to throw away all of our furniture. Some of it we managed to dry out, but it's quite hard to dry out furniture when it's raining outside, really. So most things we threw away. And we had to get all of the floors pulled up and put new floors in. And because the house was empty for such a long period, the whole house was affected, really. The whole house became either damaged by just the amount of furniture and stuff we were shifting around the house, or just by the humidity of the house. So we ended up having to redecorate the whole house and recarpet all of upstairs. We also, everything in our cellar was like a washing machine during the flood. It flooded up to the ceiling, and the force of the water pulled off doors. All of our possessions downstairs were completely destroyed. All family photos and boxes of Christmas decorations, all of that stuff, we just went straight into a skip. So it was quite a traumatic event, and it just ate up our lives, really, for a whole year, fixing up the house afterwards and moving back in. So.
You found when you got home? So inside was just horrendous. It was like somebody had painted it with mud. All the floors and then the walls up to about that high were just covered in silty, smelly mud. The carpet was completely saturated. My husband and quite a lot of neighbours were mopping it out still, and they had been for about an hour and a half by the time I got back, and it was still just horrendously muddy. Lots of things, anything that was kind of obviously below that level was totally destroyed. So all the furniture, had lots of photographs of the kids and painting they'd done at school, and for some reason kept them all on low shelves, so they were all just like paper mache. My piece of paper with the details of my insurance company was somewhere in there as well. And everything electrical had blown, so there was no light, no heating, freezer, fridge, all of that was gone. A computer with all my work on it. So yeah, a bit of a lesson in what you keep low down for me. And yeah, it took about 3 or 4 days to get the mud out. I lost count how many times I mopped it. The community were amazing. People turned up with mops and buckets. They've been kind of coordinated by this Facebook page, this flood support Facebook page, and somebody had just been handing out addresses of people who'd been affected and giving them mops and buckets, and then they would just turn up. So that next morning I was kind of sitting in the mud thinking, where do I start? And there was just a knock at the door and 6 people there, gloves and pinnies, saying, where do we start? So yeah, it was kind of disastrous in some ways, but in other ways just saw really gorgeous aspects of the community and how they all draw together in places.
Where does the water come from?
So it came from 2 parallel alleyways. This was one of them, and then the one further that way. And it had run from the moors on the top down here, through our house, and then down into Hebden Bridge. And I think what's quite peculiar is that the nearest river is probably about a mile away.
Yeah.
It was purely the runoff from the rainwater, and I don't know, kind of don't expect to be flood. I think we get quite used to hearing about floods in Hebden Bridge. The river often bursts its banks, and we're quite used to hearing the siren, but really never thought that it would affect anything this high up. It just makes you feel quite aware suddenly that these aren't just issues that affect people in the rivers. It's something that we're all vulnerable to, I suppose. It's really changed how I kind of view the environment, and it's changed how I view rain, in fact. I used to really like the sound of it, and I don't really now.